uitdry en ons gaan die MC's wees vanmiddag. Let me start just by thanking Lydia and the family for honoring us with this privilege of celebrating the life of Daniel. When Lydia approached me to be the MC, she insisted that this is not a memorial, it's a commemoration, it's a celebration. It's a celebration of the life of Daniel. And so we've got a very, very interesting lineup. We've got music, song, and family and friends doing tribute to a wonderful person that we've all come to know and love over the years. Net in termen van protocol, die tafel, netbank is vir die familie. Lydia en die familie gaan later gedurende die middag omkom by elkeen om te groet en om hallo te sê. So ons vra net dat sover as moontlik u nie opgaan na die myntafel toe nie, sodat ons COVID protocol kan implementeer. Dan aan my linkerkant is daar toilette. Dis unisex, gender neutral, so mans en vrouens, so gee maar mekaar kans indien u die toiletfasiliteite wil gebruik. Net voor ons gaan begin met die program, gaan ek vra dat almal staan en dat ons net 'n minute of silence het voor ons die amptelike program gaan begin. So kan almal net staan en dan gaan ons net vir 'n minuut stil bly. Baie dankie. Thank you. Baie dankie. Ek kan maar sit. Okay, ons gaan begin met ons program. Ons gaan vra of ons DJ gereed is en ons gaan 'n song speel van Daniel. While they're busy getting the song ready, Desiree will, after the song, she will say something. She's been a long-term friend of the family. She's worked with both Lydia and Daniel for many, many more years. And so I'm sure she's got some very, very interesting stories to share with us.
and we need to embrace those and teach them what love is all about. Love is, if you embrace it, a good, pretty feeling of affection to humankind. Love is.
Absolutely amazing. Geef hom 'n hande klap. Daniel had this ability to mimic artists. Okay. Two of his favorite artists he used to mimic was obviously Michael Franks, and then I remember the one song by Yuma Sakela, There's a Train, and Daniel used to pull up with his car, Nissan Sentra, 6x9 speakers, you know, subwoofer, and it was a two-door with one of those big windows, and he used to sing the song about Yuma Sakela, There's a Train coming from Malawi, coming from Johannesburg to the gold mines of South Africa. And Daniel, at parties sometimes, he would just, you know, unannounced, go into song and become the center of the party, even if it wasn't his party, even if it wasn't at his house. Sometimes it was even people that you took him to. And that was Daniel. You know, he was just that kind of guy, loved his music, and that song that he just rendered for us is such a sweet reminder of who he was. I'm now going to call on Desiree to pay tribute to Daniel, and then after Desiree, I'm going to ask Lincoln Pariachi to just be ready and on standby, and then after Lincoln will be Mr. Michaels, the brother of Hama, who will also say a few words.
Thanks, Raymond. Good afternoon, everybody. Goeiemiddag. Thank you, Lydia. It's an honor, great honor, to say a few words. And of course, such a big presence is hard to put into a few words. So I'm warming up this space for all of you to come share your stories. And we've got a few people lined up, but we're going to ask for more. So please get your stories ready. So I'm Desiree Paulson, a friend of Lydia's. We met at Grassroots. Daniel was also working there at the time. And the first time I engaged with Daniel was when Lydia and I did some prep for our training workshop. And I was at their house, and Lydia was making soup with spaghetti in it. There was a special recipe. And Daniel came in, and he said something crazy to us, made us laugh, he teased us. I can't even remember what he said, but all I know was at that moment he just crept into my heart. So before that, he was actually, my dad was managing a soccer team called Aurora in Cape Town, and Daniel was his star player in the 1980s. So he knew my family before I met him, and he knew who they were. And so when he heard that I was coming to work at Grassroots, there was this immediate connection. So when I think of Daniel, I think of music. I mean, his voice is just amazing. I think of the fun and the good times we spent in Johannesburg and Cape Town. So much love and generosity coming from both Daniel and Lydia, being welcomed into their home. No matter where they stayed, they always my family and I were always welcomed with great hospitality, and we very quickly became huiskinders. So, you know, you had to just make yourself at home very quickly. And of course, there was always the excitement of Daniel taking us here and taking us there, and lots of lovely jazz places. And the music was always central, always a big part of it. So, so Daniel is famous for pop-in visits. So, you know, he would often just pop up at your house, or, you know, you just get a phone call and he says, we're going to this function. And we always had to just be ready. And I'm so glad that I always said yes, because those were such precious moments. And I have so many beautiful photos of us enjoying ourselves at many various jazz places. So on one of the pop-in visits, he brought my mother a book. And it's a book by an author called Mandla Langa, actually written by Nelson Mandela and Mandla Langa. And the name of the book is Dare Not Linger. And he actually got the author to sign a little message in there for my mother. And I'm just going to read the message because it applies to Daniel. So the author wrote, "Our new democracy, however flawed, owes a great debt of gratitude to stalwarts like you." The same can be said for Daniel, a true stalwart. And our democracy is richer for his contributions and input. So many of you know Daniel. He was, you know, he was a strong activist, and he was actually doing this work of social justice and transformation in the most influential space, which is government. And it wasn't always an easy space to navigate the political arena, and he did it with great skill and great agility and great strength. He was extremely astute and a highly principled person, and he really truly lived the values that are enshrined in our Constitution. No matter where he worked, he brought himself from a place of high integrity, and his actions were always aligned to his words. And it's something we don't often see, especially in government and even in many spaces, that people walk the talk. And he did that loudly and proudly. So I drew a lot from Daniel, his rise from adversity, the fact that he's a lifelong learner and a reader, and he's always challenging and calling those out who are not doing things right. Daniel was an activist, and no matter where he went, he wanted to be a force for good in the world and to influence policy and action. And he did this through his books, his actions, and challenging and changing the status quo. He made great strides and went where others feared to go. But he also hit many walls, and he came up against the system, blocks in the system, and his wisdom wasn't taken where it should have been taken. He was a fearless freedom fighter. His weapons were his mind, his heart, and his voice. So I carry the energy and lessons from his life. And last week I ran a workshop online with a global NGO. I shared the message of speaking truth to power. Yesterday I ran another workshop with a nursing group in a hospital, and I shared that same message. I'm carrying that message with me of speaking truth to power. And this is what Daniel fought for. He's forever with us, and this is what he lived for and died for. May we all draw strength from each other and collectively move forward stronger. May we support Lydia and Daniel's 3 daughters and extended family and friends through this time. And the next period is going to be very hard. So we will need to really pull in and be there for them. So, Lydia, I want to thank you for being an amazing wife and partner and a mother to Daniel's 3 daughters. He was able to achieve what he did because he had such an incredible partner who was his equal and was a great support. And watching the 2 of you and how you were together always inspired me and always left me with such a warm feeling, and you'll always be one of my favorite couples. You really allowed and encouraged each other to be your best free selves. So on that note, I want to wish you strength in the journey going forward, and just know that you have all of us with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Desiree. There's obviously a lot of people that would have loved to be here today, but can't. So we've received a number of messages of support, and I'm going to just in between read some of them. I've got one here from Sharon Bach, who said, beautiful person of depth and sustainable in character, has been blessed with a full and rich life. He has left a deep footprint in the hearts of those who crossed his path, and may his legacy live on. Then Anwar Sheikh, my condolences to the wife and family of Comrade Plaatjes. He was an intellectual and activist that served his country with honor. While Professor Plaatjes will be sorely missed. Okay, now we're going to ask for another song, and the song will be offered by Lincoln. Thank you.
Dankie Mr. MC. Ek wil hom dit sê net voor ek begin te speel. Lydia, jy sit my in die middel van 'n ding, maar ek het geweet vanoggend as ek vir jou nee sê, dan gaan Daniel my blame omdat julle twee het al twee dieselfde geaardheid van mense laat glo in hulle self. Ek het my hand gebrand, ek het geweet jy sal nie dit as 'n verskoning aanvaar nie. Ek het keelinfeksie, ek het geweet jy gaan ook nie dit as 'n verskoning aanvaar nie. So ek gaan my beste gee nou wat ek hier kan gee vir julle. Maar weet net, julle is in my hart en dra my medelee saam met julle. Dankie.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Lincoln Padiachi. That was beautiful. I could almost picture Daniel dancing to that song, eh? Like he had this way of just swaying. I could see him at the jazz festival. Can you see him? Yes. So we would like to now invite Daniel Michaels, who is brother of Oma, Lydia's mom. So Daniel Michaels, can you please come up? It's your turn. I'm not sure where he is. Okay, come up.
Good afternoon. Ek is Daniel Michaels. Net so paar woorde wat ek te sê het oor Daniel. Eerstens wil ek geagte familie, vriende en luisteraars gun my die geleentheid om 'n kort woord te lewer oor Daniel. Maar voor ek nou begin wil ek vir Lydia graag iets sê. Ek was, toe ek op skool was, as die inspekteur omkom, had die juffrou altyd of die meneer die slimste kind die eerste vraag gevra. Ek was nooit die eerste kind nie. Vandag is ek die eerste hier in ons midde van Lydia maak by die slimste man hier. Ek wil vir jou baie dankie sê daarvoor. My kennismaking, sorry, verskoon my nie, ek is nie meer gebore in die 50's, ek is van die 40's. My mind raak 'n bietjie short. So ek hoop julle gaan dit aanvaar. My kennismaking met Daniel het plaasgevind omtrent 18-20 jaar gelede. Met die aanhoor van sy naam, naamlik Daniel, het ek geen ander keuse gehad om te sê my broer, ek beskou jou self as een van die familie, want kyk, ek self is ook Daniel. In daardie stadium het hy nog vir Lydia, het hy alreeds vir Lydia ontmoet, en hulle het dieselfde passie vir hul werk gehad. Omdat Daniel 'n werklike aangename mens was, het ons mekaar gou gevind, en ons kon lekker gesels. Ons gesprekke was altyd oorheers deur die politiek, veral die ANC. Op sy manier en rustige manier het Daniel my altyd probeer oortuig dat my sienswyse nie heeltemal korrek was nie, en ek moet dit so aanvaar. Ook hoog op die agenda was rugby. Ek self en hy is in ons midde vandag, is geharde oplegsondersteuners, terwyl Danny 'n springbok was. Dit was seker ook die enigste manier hoe ons hom kon wen, want in al die ander dinge was hy eenvoudig ons meerdere. Iets wat onuitwisbaar in my geheue ingebrand is, was toe Daniel en Lydia vir myself, my vrou en 3 van my susters in 2010 genooi het om vir 14 dae in Joburg te kom kuier. Hulle het te kom kuier. Danny het alle onkoste vliegtuigkaartjies. Ek wil daar stil staan by vliegtuig. It was my first race in a plane. Believe it or not. Ingesluit gedra. Ons het selfs 'n rit op die goudtrein gehad. Vir sy gesin wou hy net die beste gee en doen. Vir sy vrou Lydia het hy altyd op 'n ligte noot gesê, luister mooi, stay with me and I will make you famous. And I think she are famous today. What do you say? Thank you. Danny se menswees en persoonlijkheid word die beste verwoord rondom 'n stelling van Mandela, ons destydse president. Ek haal aan. Humility is one of the most important qualities which you must have, because if you are humble, if you make people realize that you are no threat to them, that people will embrace you, they will listen to you. Wanneer Daniel Robertson was, het hy al sy aandag aan sy mense rondom hom gegee en hy het nooit werk en plesier gemeng nie. As hy gewerk het, hy gewerk. As hy egter gekuier het, hy gekuier. Natuurlik met 'n sterrende jazzklanke. Soos Lincoln vir ons hier gewys het, was byderhand. Met die heengaan van hierdie geliefdevolle mens het net sy gesin, familie en vriende, maar wel ons land innerlik armer geword. As daar dus vandag individu is wie 'n traan stort, onthou net, wanneer die Here 'n traan in jou oog toelaat, is dit omdat hy 'n reënboog in jou hart beplan. Dan my laaste, may Daniel life be forever celebrated by his wife and children, and may his soul forever be with the Lord. I thank you. Ek dank u.
Thank you, Daniel Michaels, for that beautiful message. So we now call on Peter Plaikis, Daniel's brother, and Lizanne Plaikis and Nicholas Pretorius. So if you can please come up. Thank you.
Okay, as they're making their way up, just another message of support from Yokshan, a friend of the family from London. He writes, "Good morning, Lydia. My heart is bleeding tears for your beloved, who was my kindred spirit, the brother that I never grew up with, that I found later in life. I'm not South African, but I've become an honorary compatriot and comrade through support of the apartheid struggle since I was a teenager over 40 years ago. I'm lost without Daniel, whose purpose on this planet, whilst cut short, was fulfilled because he leaves behind a legacy of promise, fight, spirit, determination, encouragement, and the list goes on and on. Thank you." Peter?
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Peter Plaikis, the youngest brother of Daniel Plaikis, as you can say Professor Plaikis, sometimes we say Pili Plaikis. And I want all of you must be happy. Right? That's why we all of us come together here to celebrate Daniel's memorial service. And that's why he wants also that each and everyone, like he was a music man. Everyone must be happy. You mustn't be sad. All right? Daniel was a very careful person. And through my mother, Linky Plaikis, we did receive all education. All our brothers and sisters did receive education. And it chose the right way and the right path. Because my mother was not the one who had fish and the one who treated like meat. She treated all the same. And for clothing, food on the table for everyone, through her humbleness. And also to her family, his wife and children. Daniel's not gone. He's still here with us. And especially at night time, where the Lord needs us that period of time, what we can do, we can only go on our knees and pray. Because he will be always in our hearts for each and every one. There's something I also want to tell you is that when we grow up in Carlsonfontein, Pontyville, we have a huge yacht with a cement surface. And every morning before we go to school, the brothers play on the hockey, mischief, hockey sticks on the blood. But then one day, his stick falls out of his hand and hit into my eye. It's just blood all over the place. And Daniel was very upset. He even cried. I said, don't worry, it's an accident. We can do nothing about it. And then when my mother comes home, then Daniel was just sitting in the corner because now it's hiding time. But what happened now? I said, no, mother, don't worry. It was an accident. We can do nothing about it. The same like now we're having here. It's a good thing that we have, because if Daniel didn't pass away, none of us will be here. And now she's safe in the arms of Jesus. And that's why I want to thank you for all of this. I don't want to speak too much because there's a long list that have to come off. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Nicholas Pretorius. I really don't know why I'm on the list, but there is reason. Myself and Daniel, I know him as Daniel, we grew up in Kalksteenfontein. We started our foundation grades all the years in the same class, up until standard 6, with what that is now grade 8. Daniel, when we all were playing, Daniel was studying. He never made time for anything that is idle. The only thing that he made time for was for his soccer. However, I have also learned over the years that with Daniel, you really don't know. But his word was his honor, and you could take that to the bank. I remember one day one of our seniors in the area where I stay, she said, look at you, man, I get my old age pension, but it is only a quarter of my pension. I really want to know what is happening. And I remembered, Daniel gave me his business card. And I called him up and said, Daniel, this is Nicholas Pretorius. Nikki, hoe kan ek jou help? En ek verduidelik hom aan die situasie wat ek het. En glo my, binne 15 minute was Sassa by daai dame se huis om haar dokumente in orde te kry. Die man het die woord by die daad gesit. Andre ken Daniel in verskillende aspekte. Ek dink ek is van die gelukkiges wie met hom saam opgegroei het. Ek en Daniel en Pieter het opgegroei as neefs. Sy ma het vir die mense gesê, my ma is sy niggie. En so was het al die jare. Vakansies, wanneer het festiv is, dan is sy maar daar in Tafelsig, by haar niggie. Want het was lekker jare. Dan move hulle Jakkalsvlei laan toe, en ons trek Tafelsig toe, en daar het ons paadjies geskei. Maar ek het nooit die kontak met die Plaatjies familie verloor nie. Tot op vandag, na al die ongelukkig ek en Daniel dieselfde ouderdom. Maar nou raak ek bekommerd, wanneer is het my tyd? Seker nie gauw nie. Daarmee wil ek ook aan Lydia en haar kinders sê, death is not the end of life. Death is the beginning of another life. And we can take consolation in the fact that he will be forever present. In everything that you do, you think he will be there. He had that presence about him. So my sincerest condolences to you, and be strong.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Lydia-Anne. I've been arm wrestled into saying something about Daniel by my husband, Peter. So I met Daniel at his 50th birthday, and I had the privilege of meeting his wife as well. I didn't know much about Daniel except what the family has told me, that they were very proud of his achievements that he's had over the years. And Peter always speaks very highly of Daniel's first book that he wrote, and everything else about Daniel I've learned through what Peter's told me. But today I just want to say to the family, to Lydia and to the girls and the extended family, thank you for involving us in the preparations and everything else that you had planned 2 weeks ago and this week as well. And I want to say to you that during your time of loss, we do think about you, and we pray that God would hold you in the palm of his hands, and that whatever steps you take this way forward, that he would guide you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So, my relationship with Daniel Plaatjes. I was 21 years old, so exactly 30 years ago. As a fourth-year social work student at the University of the Western Cape, you're allowed to go, or you required to do your final year practice at an organization. And I chose Grassroots Adult Education Trust. I don't know why. I think it's because maybe I was taking taxi down Klipfontein Road and I saw this huge building going up, and it was called Grassroots, so that's the organization I chose. And the university said, your supervisor will be Daniel Plaatjes. So, first day at the office, I'm supposed to meet this person, Daniel Plaatjes. I go to Grassroots, jump in a taxi, and he makes me wait for an hour. You know, I'm sitting on a chair, he's sitting in his office, he can see me, he's ignoring me. Every time I wave, I'm like, you know, I'm here. He ignores me. And then I decided I'm actually going to leave, so I got out of the chair, and then he came out and he called me back into his office, and he introduced himself, Daniel Plaatjes. So that's when the relationship started 30 years ago. And, you know, we've got a lot in common. So both of us studied social work at the University of the Western Cape. Daniel became my mentor. He was very difficult, but it so happened that he gave me an A pass for my practical work. So I thought, good shot. I was also lucky, as even before I graduated, Daniel came to me and he said, I'm impressed with the work you do in Mitchell's Plain. So if you are interested, there's a job for you next year. You know, and I thought, wow. Kyk hoe geseën is ek nou. As hy elke dag wat 'n final year student in 'n job kan stap hier. En so het my loopbaan dan begin by Grassroots Adult Education Trust. Daniel was die manager gewees en ek het fieldwork gedoen en training, en dit is hoe ek vir Daniel leer ken het. Daar's twee dinge wat altyd by my sal staan as ek dink aan Daniel en my verhouding met hom by Grassroots. Die eerste ding is, ek het nie alcohol gedrink nie. So daar was ek as a fourth year student, and as I'm on my way home, 4 o'clock on a Friday afternoon, I passed the security guard's office and Daniel calls me in. And it's Daniel and a couple other guys, they're sitting there by the security, and it's now 4 o'clock, so they knocked off and they're going to have a drink. And he calls me in and he says, sit. And I said, but you know, I'm using public transport. He said, sit. Hy skink my toe 'n groot dop. Ek sê, meneer, ek drink nie. Hy sê, drink. And you know, at that time I was still very religious. I was baie stones kerkpersoon, but in any case, ek kon nie nee sê vir die man, ek vat toe my eerste drank. Brandy het ons daai tyd gedrink. En daar is die tipe influence wat Daniel op 'n mens gehad het. Het was baie moeilik om nee te sê vir Daniel. Dis die ander rede hoekom Daniel is also known as the kidnapper. Daniel the kidnapper. Daniel will come to your house on a Friday after work. Then he says, Raymond, ons gaat koop gou 'n paar biere. Dan sê ek, okay. Dan klim ek in die kar en dan ry Daniel Robertson toe met my. En dis natuurlik hoe ek vir Hamma en vir Cookies en vir Terrence en die rest van die familie geleer ken het. And he did it to me more than one time. The sad thing is, he did it to friends I've introduced him to. Baie kere op 'n Sondag, hy phone die ouens vir my. Hulle is vuil, hulle het nie gialie, hulle het nie hulle tandeborsel saamgebring nie. Hulle is saam met Daniel in die Robertson of in die Woeste of in die Aston. And that was Daniel. You know, he crept into everyone's lives. Like I said, you introduce him to people and then he become friends with those people long after you've introduced him. And that is the nature of the man. The other tribute I can make about Daniel is, Daniel understood that there are two things you need to do when you grow up on the dusty roads of the Cape Flats. There are two things that can take you from poverty to a more meaningful life. Daniel was one of the few people that understood that it was education and sports. We know his prowess as a soccer player. I mean, they didn't call him Pili for nothing. The guy had amazing, amazing skill. But, you know, that obviously, he couldn't make a career out of it then for obvious reasons. But education was his focus. And I think there's a lot of people that can tell you stories about how Daniel and Lydia inspired them to go study, but not only to go study, to go and register for a postgraduate degree. So about 3 months ago, I called Daniel and I said, Daniel, I'm busy with my master's degree. There's an assignment on social policy and leadership, and I'm struggling to find good references online. And Daniel said, ek kom nie na my huis toe nie, as COVID, ek soek nie vir jou by my huisie, but I'm going to email you some articles. And lo and behold, just as one of the previous speakers said, within 2 or 3 hours, Daniel arranged with his personal assistant to send me some amazing academic references that I could use in my assignment. And that is the character of a man, you know, who cares about other people, who wants to see other people achieve in life. His own life is a mirror to so many of us because it's a life of resilience. It's a life that says, you know, whatever your social circumstances, you know, wherever you were born, whatever adversity you faced as a child, that you can rise above these social problems that's presented to you when you were a child or young and growing up on the Cape Flats. And I think many, many people, not only in Cape Town, not only in Bonteheuwel and Metric and Cape and with the Western Cape in South Africa, but all over the world can attest to that quality that Daniel had, that he was, if you meet him, he inspires you and then you want to be like Daniel, right? You change your music collection as a result of Daniel, you know? I mean, one of my most memorable times I've enjoyed with Daniel and Lydia, especially when they were staying in Ottery, was sitting in their lounge and just going through his CD collection. And, you know, before you realize it, it would be hours and hours of sitting there listening to jazz. At that stage, you could still record, you know, because we didn't have all this fancy technology. And so he introduced people to different things in life. You know, apart from the music, obviously, it's the connection he's made with the communities in the Boland as a result of his relationship with Lydia. You know, so you can go anywhere in the Overberg, in the Boland, on the West Coast. There are people who have stories to tell about Daniel Plaatjes. And so, you know, as we celebrate his life today, you know, as we reflect on what he meant for us as friends, as family, as colleagues, as comrades. You know, let us remember him as the person who was always giving. I sou sê laaste gee as iemand in die nood was. En dit is die tipe lewe wat Daniel gelei het. I think the work he did was tough. You know, being a senior public servant in government today is one of the toughest jobs. And I know everybody here has got a sweater that says "Stay Black." Daniel had a follow-up to that "Stay Black." And that follow-up was, "I write what I like." Stay black and I write what I like. And he used "I write what I like" because he was inspired by the work of Steve Biko. So before he was active in the ANC, he was a member of the Black Consciousness Movement. So that black pride comes from there. But the "I write what I like" is what, you know, we will all remember him for, because he didn't write to impress. He didn't write because he wanted favors from a minister or a party. He wrote critically. And he also wrote, his writing was influenced by his own experience as a child growing up in Kalksteenfontein. You know, his own experience as a poor child, that informed his writing. And that's why you could say people don't eat policy. You know, we can make all sorts of policy, but people don't eat policy. And that is the legacy that Daniel leaves. And I just want to say to Lydia, I salute you. You were more than just a wife. You were a partner, a comrade, a life partner. I think, you know, you had such a big influence in his life. And I know your family in Robertson and in Worcester, that he was very fond of them. He would use any opportunity that he was free to come down and enjoy time and spend quality time with the family. So I want to salute Daniel and just remember him for who he was, and I encourage you all to just think about what he personally meant in your life. Thank you.
These are the words I say when I want you near to me. From the place deep in my heart, you'll see I'm never far away. Any place, any time. When you reach out for my love, I'll be there. I'll be there for you, baby. I'll be there for you. When you're falling, I'll be there for you, baby. Let me love you. When the world's too hard to bear and you need a helping hand, I'll be there, the one to help you understand. If you are too far away, Zambia or Monterey, I'll be there, the one to wash your tears away. I'll be there for you, baby. I'll be there for you when you're falling. I'll be there for you, baby. Let me love you.
Thank you. The next person to come to the podium is Wade Fortuin. Will also make a small contribution.
You're going to greet them and they just start to sweat them. So this here, if you are one of those people, this is your big chance. Today could be the change.
Dag zijn allemaal. Het is lekker warm in Robertson, jong. Aan mijn Pietpa, Uncle Daniel. Die man wat mij geboortenaam gegeven. Die man wat my verjaarsdag maand deel en volhard glo dat ons verstaan mekaar omdat ons my babas is. Die man wat my altyd gebel het om movies vir hom te download en na sy huis toe te bring, net sodat ons weer eens na sy memory sticker soek vir halfuur. Die man wat graag die waiters by restaurante onder druk geplaas het as hulle sy bestelling verkeerd gekry het. Die alle bestuurders te roep om oor die bestelling te kla. En op die einde van die dag nie sy bestelling wou verander het. Uncle Daniel was 'n vreemde man, maar so vreemd as wat hy was hy baie geliefd vir sy egtheid, sy toewyding aan die saak van social justice, sy liefde vir jazzmusiek en sy vermoë om in 'n een-op-een gefokuste manier saam met jou 'n gesprek kon voer. Namens die niggies en neefs wil ek net sê dat ons van Uncle Daniel baie mis. Ons het lekker tye saam met Uncle Daniel spandeer en sal daardie moments vir altyd in ons harte hou. Ek kan nog steeds nie glo dat Uncle Daniel nie meer by ons is nie. Ek kan nou dat Auntie Lydia gesê het dat sy laasweek vir die weeklikse vullisman gesê het dat Uncle Daniel oorlede is. En hy was gesok oor die feit dat die man wat altyd elke week met hom sou gesels nie meer daar sal wees nie. As ons kyk na die hoeveelheid mense wat vandag hier is, kan ons sien dat Uncle Daniel 'n goeie plek in elkeen van ons harte gehad het. Ek wil net eindig met die laaste skryfstuk wat ek van Uncle Daniel gevind het, waar hy in my 21ste verjaarsdag boek geskryf het. En hy het gesê, groot dinge vir jou Wade. En nou jy kan enigiets wees wat jy wil wees. Baie geluk met jou verjaarsdag. Van Uncle Daniel Plaatjes. Dankie.
Thank you. That's so heartwarming to hear all these beautiful stories and just how Daniel touched each of our hearts. So we're going to do a sing-along now, and in your program, you'll see it says Take 5, and this is Daniel and Lydia's wedding song. If there's anyone that wants to come up here and lead us with singing, please come. I'm not a singer, so someone can play for us. Okay.
I'd like to do something different for you now. This is sometimes if you the words and music get a little bit words and music get a little bit mixed together. You don't know quite what to say. That I want to talk about is I used to visit this girl who lived not too far from me in Milwaukee. I was working in the breweries. And I go up and every morning I would walk by her house and she'd be sitting on the front, sitting out on the sitting on sewing. One morning I said, "Hey, I'd like to want to talk to you. Can you come just a little bit? Come here. Whisper this. Because mother was standing over there. Whisper, listen. Can you count on would you take a little bit of time? Could you take a little bit of time, baby? Would you take a little bit, just a little bit, wee little bit? Could you take a little bit of time? Take it like a 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, 1, 2, 3.
Thank you very much. What a unique wedding song. Honestly, that's Daniel, né? Well, altijd different geweest het. So wedding was different, the wedding song was different, the wedding party was different, because Daniel is different. Okay, we're now calling on Caroline Klaassen to come up. And then we're going to have another sing-along after that. We also want to give anybody else that wants to say something or give tribute to just come around, give your name to Desiree, and then we'll finish off with a speaker's corner, Daniel Speaker Square. So if there are any one of you who would like the opportunity to say something about Daniel and what he meant for you as a person, then you would be welcome to do so after the next two items. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. First of all, I would like to thank the family for affording me this opportunity to speak of a great legend. I was so worried. I said, how am I going to do this? To speak of such a great legend. And first of all, I would like to make a correction. I'm really from the farm. I'm Caroline and not Caroline. So I believe the Cape Townians will change it into their thinking. But I'm Caroline Klaassen. I've been introduced into this family in 1996 as a friend of Linda, a sister of Lydia, Daniel's wife. And I get emotional when I have to talk about him. All the speakers, they spoke about the words of him. I experienced it. His first song that he rendered was the love and affection that he had for people. I've experienced it in such a great way. Ever since we met, we become friends, and the friendship grew with respect, with love. There was this one year, I normally camp in Mossel Bay. He and the entire family make a way and come and visit me and stay over with me. And also we had a conversation during that time, and I had some difficulties at work. And then I told him, no, Daniel, man, I gave it to the Lord. Daniel's word was, Caroline, sometimes we need to speak up and fight for the next generation. So I don't want you to be quiet. And that is exactly what his life meant to me. I know people say it's not a memorial service, but through Daniel's life, or must I say through his death, I realized the greatness of God. Because despite all Daniel's titles that he had, he still cared about me. I still mattered. And the same with God. In his magnitude, we all matters to him. And that is the living testimony that he had for me. In February, I asked Lydia, I'm looking for Daniel, man. I also have some issues. She said, Caroline, Daniel is now in Durban in a congress, but you can leave him a WhatsApp message. And like the previous speaker said, Daniel was a man who put word into action. He called me. I told him, Daniel, I've got this challenge currently in my life. Daniel said, no, I will get an advocate to call you. It was within hours that she called me. And she was the one who informed me about the passing of Daniel. And her words was, Caroline, Daniel had time for you. And it also brings to me that we don't often use the opportunities and tell people while they're in our lives what they mean to us. So I want us to go back and embrace each other and tell each other what they mean. Daniel, you've been a brother to me, and people don't mistake it. I've got lots of brothers. We are a family of 10 children. So I do have enough brothers, so I'm not looking for family. But it's the one person that shows brotherhood. And I've gained a guardian angel. En ek sê vir Lydia die ander dag, Lydia, ek weet nie of jy nog kan onthou nie, maar daai man het 'n kreefpot gemaak. 'n Asfaal kreefpot. As jy hom so kyk, hy lyk nie lekker nie. But believe you me, ever since that time I haven't tasted anything like it. En by die verlede week se celebrations het Kanye gesê wat vir haar uitgestaan het van Uncle Daniel. Hy het geluister en notas gemaak ongeag hoe jonk sy is. En ek kan sê Daniel het geluister aan my ongeag wie ek is. En hy het my laat glo. Dit is net soos wat Uncle Daniel vroeër gesê het. Hy en Lydia, they've got that in them, that you believe in yourself. And I think it was Yusuf who told us the story about when they wanted to attend the celebration of the ANC that they didn't have money. And the message was, have faith and trust in you. So that is my message to all of you. Have faith and trust in yourself. I thank you.
Beautiful. Baie dankie. Ja, Daniel. was ook 'n chef, soos ons nou gehoor het, né? Man met culinary skills. Twee dinge van Daniel wat my geïrriteer het. Hy stop voor jou huis en dan hoed hy. Ek bedoel, regtig. Dan sê my mama, hy kan mos inkom. Hoekom klop hy nie aan die deur nie? Dan hoed hy. Die ander ding is, jy sit in die kar, jy drink biere en dan maak hy vir jou die drywe. Maar hy wil ook uit as vuil glas uit drinkie, so elke keer, elke 5 minute, dan moet jy die glas gaan skoonmaak. So, daai was ook een van die lesse wat ek geleer het van Daniel, né? As hy jou mente is, dan moet jy bereid wees om geëxploit te word. Dat was die karakter van die man. Okay, our next speaker is Delano Petersen. Can we have Delano Petersen?
Zeker op die spot gevat. Maar het zal een eer wees voor mij om een paar woorden te zeggen, want Uncle Daniel was zo'n vaderfiguur voor elkeen van ons. Dylan Santel is mijn pa en mama. Uncle Daniel was definitief iemand om naar op te kijken. Ik wil net baie dankie zeggen voor die goede memories. En die Lydia wat hom samen met allemaal gedeeld het. Ik kon hou ook van die hoed. Ik was een klein seentjie nog. Ik kom hier daar bij ons huis, 3 uur in de ochtend. Ik kom uit een hoedje. Die volgende ochtend weet ik, ook mijn pa en Uncle Daniel was weer uit geweest. Mijn pa was zo die maandagochtend bij de huis aangekomen. Maar geniet die dag verder. En mij zou rest in peace.
Okay, the next item on the program is a sing-along. Welcome to my funeral. Again, very unique piece of music that Daniel selected for us to enjoy today. And the lyrics of the song is also in your program. It's the last page. Welcome to my funeral. The lyrics is on the last page. Okay, I see Daniel organized an air show. There's a dance show in the middle of the field. There's a half moon. He's really here with us. He's alive. He's feeling us, and we're feeling him. We can sense his spirit here in this gathering. And he's leaving us with such beautiful lyrics. Can you imagine someone saying, because the way we lived, it was amazing. All of my friends are in the room. Party for me, I'd party too. There's no other way Daniel would have wanted today. I can promise you that. This is perfect. Lydia, the way you've planned these events, the one in Cape Town, the one here in Robertson today, and the next Saturday in Johannesburg, it's fantastic. It reflects his personality. It reflects, his style, and it's so apt that he's leaving us with such beautiful, beautiful lyrics. It's now open mic. Just like when we celebrated his 50th birthday, we also had Daniel speak a square. And it really just gives anyone who wants to take the opportunity to give a tribute. I've got 2 people so far who volunteered, so I'm going to call on no one first, who will say something. Now, give him a hand.
Dankie vir die geleentheid, Lydia en familie en vriende, dat ek eers my condolences bring. En ek gemeegevoel met julle verlies. God bless us all. Jy weet, die Here maak ons nie 'n fout, wat ook gebeur nie. So ek wil net 'n bietjie 'n staakie vertel van Danny. Ek ken hom nie as Daniel nie, ek ken hom as Danny. Ek het Danny ontmoet in die early 90's, so 30 jaar terug, deur my vriend Koelie, die is 'n broer, en die Padjage familie, en glo my, wat ek vandag vir jou vertel, ja, die vorige spreker het altyd gesê, Danny is 'n man, hy is leiningskrag, en hy heeft jou iewers heen, ja, hy het dit gedoen, toe sy op die grassroots level, en Lydia en so aan, dan ry ons, nee, in die rigting in, toe beland ons in 'n klawe. Ek weet nie hoe daar kom nie. Lydia was by. Ons toe gaan hulle gee hulle geskenke vir die kinders. Daar en so aan. Daai dag was ons daar by. Weet en hy het in die klawe. Ek weet klawe, ek praat van 1990 klawe as warm 1920 steeds warm. Die mense wat kopie koue bier daar nie. Maar ons is daar in klawe in. Daar gekom. Die functies afgehandeld. Gratis, het alles georganiseerd en zo aan. Goede opportunity. Toen hij zo terug daar aan. Diezelfde zaden aan, hij is terug. Kaap toe. Ik beland daar in een huis. Ik weet niet wie zij het was, maar toen hoor ik dat hij is meer vandaag blijkbaar verstaan was die dokter Jamie. Ons beland daar in die huis. Danny vat vir ons rigtings. Ons kom daar in die doktershuis en ek nou het 'n fout gemaak. Ek sal nooit vergeet die. Ek het 'n fout by gesê, wie is die mense hier so lekker gekoring, jy weet. Nou sê ek, Danny, wie is die mense? Nee, dis Jamie sê. Sê, wie is Jamie? Nou, daar's Nicolio, daar's baie vriende van hom. Maar die vriende wat hy het, of gehad het, as hulle postiets bring, sê ek, nee man, jy kan my voorstel hulle prokureer, of 'n lawyer, of 'n dokter, of sê my, as gewoon nou en voor, man. Ek is hier op my vlak, maar Danny het nie omgegaan oor, of jy nou of jy koelie, of jy wees nie, jy is my vriende man. Ja, julle pas aan, by ons lekker. En so het ons lekker gekeier die aan daar by Jamie's huis. Ek sê vir julle, na die kajakkie, na die naweek lekker gekeier het, so is ons nou weg. Nou beland, ek weet nie hoe nie, maar ons beland in Bond, die heuwel, ek en Koelie saam met Danny. Danny sê vir ons daai dag, maar julle twee gaan nou cricket speel. Ek sê, wat? En Bond die heuwel, speel die mense cricket in Bond die heuwel, speel die sokke hier nie? Dit is die Kaap nie, ek sê nee. Jy speel cricket vandag. Nou speel ons cricket daar in Bond die heuwel. Ek en Koelie van Robertson. Maar ons twee speel cricket in. Ek sê Koelie man, kyk hier, luister, ons is cricketers. Jy is mos hier bowler, ou batsman, ek is die bowler. Ja, ons speel 50 ouers. 50 ouers speel ons. Jy kry 4 of 5 drinks breaks. Ja, drinks breaks as 'n kusbie. Jy weet, die 5de drinks break. Dus as moeg jong, sê, as het nog selfs game die? En die sê, nee man, speel. Toe as klaar gespeel sê, julle gaan, as geld op die speelkie. Ja, en hoeveel geld is dit so belangrijk? Julle moet volgende week weer kom, maar die manne sê, die Robertson se manne, as gevaarlik. Hulle is gevaarlik jong, ons wen, die game, die dag, ons moet volgende week ook om ek sê, Danny, wow, Danny, wacht man, dit is nog vroeg. Hy is en Lydia is nog meisie of kennis, dat is nog nie getrouwd nie. Ja, nou, ry ons, een dag kom ek hier toe. Ek, Koelie, Lydia en Danny. Dus hy kom ek hier toe. Nou sê Danny, hy het 'n bietjie sinus gehad of iets. Hy sê, Lydia, geef my tissue man. Nou sê Lydia, maar kyk aan die kibbie man, dat is my goeie toiletpapier. Danny sê, nee man, ek vraag vir jou vir tissue man. Sy sê nou wat, ek sê dan, ek het jy nou tissue, vat sommer nou, kry dan nou. Hy sê, as enig wat jou sê mevrou, ek behandel my hol en my neus nie dieselfde nie. Thank you very much.
Oh, lovely. Een lekker story. Goeie storyverteller. Die man beaam wat ons allemaal weet van Daniel. Lekker stories. Our next speaker is Steven. Steven. Here you go.
Goeiemiddag almal. Ek het gedink ek wil net so 'n paar goedjies vertel wat ek onthou van Daniel. U wat nou nie weet nie, die Pariagi familie het amper 100 geslagte in dieselfde leeftyd. So ons oupa was warm. So toes Daniel, ons nou vir Daniel ontmoet, het as Daniel en Lydia elke naweek afkom, dan moes ons nou eers vir Daniel weer van vooraf leer, wie pas by wie in. Want nou, as jy, dan moet Lydia sê, dis mos aan die Kathleen se kinders, en dan moet hy, so, een ding wat ek van Daniel kan onthou, is dat hy nie kon onthou nie. Want elke naweek moes ons die selfde resitasie nou leer. Gelukkig nou oor jare, kon ons nou vir mekaar sê, Daniel, sê, o ja, jy mos daai een se kind, so pas jy in die prentjie in. Nog 'n ding wat ek van Daniel altyd onthou, is dat Daniel het 'n manier gehad om jou in te sleep in 'n ding. En teen die einde van die dag, kom iemand het net maar gepraat van 'n potjie maak. Daniel is adamant ons gaan potjie maak. Teen die einde van die dag maak jy die fucking potjie. Hy organise alles, hy vat aan niksie. Nee, hy organise alles, vat nie aan 'n aardappel of wat ook al nie. Maak hy 'n vuur, maar teen die einde van die dag het ons 'n potjie. So hy het daai manier gehad om jou te ooreed om iets te doen wat jy nie wou doen nie. Daniel het my ook expose aan jazz. Gelukkig, toe ek nou ons vriende raak, was ek nou al betrokke in ken 'n bietjie jazz, maar hy het my 2 ouens geleer wat African jazz. Dit was Abdullah Ibrahim en dan het hy vir my Yuma Sekela geleer. Ek bedoel, dis manne wat vir ons, dinge se ons ken net vir Jonathan Butler. So, vir my was dit so, en dan, 'n ander internasionale ou wat hy vir my geleer het, is vir Sting. Hy was 'n gaande oor Sting. Sting was sy man. Fragile, how fragile you are. So, Daniel het baie memories by ons gelos. Kyk, nou die dag sy interview, en van die vorige sprekers het nou al genoem, ek kyk sy interview en wat hy nou aansoek doen vir die parliamentary job, en iets wat my optel binne die interview is dat hy sê vir die een persoon wat hom ondervraag, een van die parlementslede, can you call me Daniel, man, not professor? En ek dink Buthelezi bring hom terug om vir hom te sê, maar we have to stick to protocol. So Daniel was nooit 'n ou waar dit gegaan het oor titels nie. Sy titels was net iets wat daar was, maar die menswees was altyd daar. Lydia, die kinders, het was lekker om 'n man soos jy te geken het, 'n persoon wat jy elke keer as jy met hom 'n gesprek gevoer het, iets kon van die gesprek afvat. Dankie, en dankie vir die geleentheid. Baie dankie.
Thank you, Stephen. Okay, we're going to round off the program. If there's nobody else, we're going to ask Lincoln to conclude the activities for us. Unless there's somebody else that wants to pay tribute, then you can come forward. But otherwise, we're going to ask Lincoln to close the program. Long live the spirit of Daniel Plaatjes, long live! Long live the spirit of Daniel Plaatjes, long live! Forward with the legacy of Daniel Plaatjes, forward! Forward with the legacy of Daniel Plaatjes, forward! Thank you, that's the end of our program. We've got just a final thank you. Thank you very much for sharing the afternoon with us.
Daar's natuurlijk 1000 mensen om voor dankie te zeggen, maar eerstens wil ik net namens Lydia en Lydia and the girls en die breë familie wil ons net vir almal hartlik dankie sê. Eerstens dankie vir almal van julle vir julle opkomste vandag, aan almal wat 'n handjie bygesit het om vandag mondelik te maak. Baie baie dankie. Ek wil nie begin name noem nie want dan gaan ek iemand uitlaat. En dis die eerste keer wat ek Lydia se breë familie ontmoet. So ek wil nie moeilikheid soek met haar broers nie, so ek gaan nie name noem nie, want ek gaan iemand vergeet. Maar ek wil tog net vir Johan Abrams en sy span sê, baie, baie, baie dankie julle. Ons waardeer dit. Dankie dat julle al die pad uit die Kaap het gekom het om dit vir Lydia en vir Daniel te kom doen. Die res van die span wat ook uit die Kaap het gekom het om te kom werk, baie dankie vir julle. Ons hoop julle geniet die Robertson son. As ek nou so staan en dan sien ek mense en dan wil ek name noem, maar almal van julle weet net laaste en nie die minste nie, is almal van julle wel bedankt. Ons sê dankie vir almal van julle. Elke dingetjie wat julle gedoen het, wat julle bygedra het. Die tafeltjie wat jy geskuif het, die tafeldoekie wat jy aangedra het, het groot betekenis vir Lydia en haar familie. So my naam is Lewette, ek heet julle welkom, ek hoop julle gaan dit geniet, net soos Daniel is ek ook van Bonteheuwel, so ja, geniet dit.